So we're going to work on solving inverse word problems, more specifically the work together problems. And these generally talk about one person doing one activity in a certain amount of time, another person doing the same activity at a different set of time. How long would it take if they were to work together? So, for example, the first example on here says Sam can paint a room in 3 hours. Bill can paint the same room in 5 hours. How long will it take to paint the room if they work together? Now, there's multiple ways of setting up a problem like this, but I'm just going to show you the two easiest ways. Well, for the first person, we know that it's going to take them 3 hours to be able to go through and do this activity. So the way that we can set that up is we can do 1 over 3 plus the amount of time it takes the second person, which in this case is 5 hours. That'd be 1/5. And if those were to work together, how long would it take? Remember, x would be down there. Now, what you can do at that point is what a lot of students will do is they will go through and just figure out, let me change colors here real quick. Since this side is just regular fractions, what they'll do is they'll go through and actually plug that in their calculator and solve. So 1/3 plus 1/5, I'm going to put all this over here so I have a little bit more room, which would be 8 over 15. Okay, so if we were to just do 1/3 plus 8/15, that becomes 8 over 15, and that's going to equal 1 over x. Well, then what we do is we just cross multiply to be able to solve. So, change color here again. Doesn't matter which two you start with, I'm just going to always start with the one with the x. So if I cross multiply, 8 times x is 8x, and if I cross multiply here, 15 times 1 is 15. To solve for x, I divide by 8, and I get that x is equal to 1.875. Okay. So in this case, if they wanted to paint the room together, it would take them only 1.875. Oftentimes with these problems, they're not nice, pretty numbers. They're often decimals. Alright, so if you need anything from this page, go ahead and get it. Pause the video if needed. I'm going to switch pages. Okay, so we're going to try another one of these problems. I'm just going to make one up. I'm not going to write out the whole word problem. I'm going to say, I don't know, let's say, we'll use the same people, I guess. So Sam takes, let's say 3 hours to, I don't know, clean his house. And let's say Bill takes 4 hours, okay, to clean that same house. How long would it take them to clean the house if they worked together? So, again, for our first person, it would be 1/3. Our second person would be 1/4. And we want to figure out what that would be necessarily if they worked together. Well, again, on this left-hand side, all we would do is we would do 1/3 plus 1/4, which actually comes out to 7/12. And oops, that's not supposed to be an 8 there. I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay, so now all we need to do is just cross multiply. So these two together, so I get 7x. These two together, I get 12 and 1, which is 12. So in this case, I get 12 divided by 7. So I'll help my hand. So this is x equals 1.71. Okay, so again, just another way to go through and do this necessarily together. Alright, now I did say at the beginning I was going to show you two ways. So this is one of the easier ways. This is actually the longer of the two ways. A short way to do this, let me make a little space because I want to keep that same problem up here. So the short way to do this, and this will work, we'll go back to that other screen and look at that other problem too and just make sure that it works. With these sort of problems, the shortest way to do this is if you take the two numbers that it takes each person individually, if you actually multiply the two numbers and put that over the sum of the two numbers, that will actually give your answer too. So if we were to do 3 times 4 over 3 plus 4, well, 3 times 4 gives us 12, 3 plus 4 gives us 7, which is exactly what we have right there. So that 12 over 7 will give us that same answer. This is the short way. Especially when you have a problem like this in the SAT or ACT, you can go through and find it really, really quickly. So if you need anything from the screen, go ahead and pause it. I'm going to switch back to our previous screen and do the short direction on that one. Okay, so going back to this page, I'm going to try this short method, kind of in this space over here to the right. Again, if we were to go through and multiply the two over the sum, oops, not 15, what am I thinking? There we go. So if we do the multiplication of the two over the sum of the two, well, in that case we get 15 over, darn it, I keep writing the numbers wrong on here. Well, I'm writing the answer in the last space there. So we end up getting 15 over 8, which is the same thing that we did before. So again, to me, it does not matter which way that you go through and do this. Does not matter. Just be able to find these solutions.